Hello and welcome to part 5 of my introductory series about my everyday enchantment tarot. And this video, which has been the most tricky of all to make, is about the unseen aspect of my deck and book set. Now, you don't have to believe in anything to enjoy this particular level of the tarot. You can skip this completely and still have a very meaningful experience of it, but I did need to share this because it's an integral part of the deck, and it can give you a deeper experience of it. But you'll need an openness to the possibility that there's more to life than meets the eye. That's the only thing you really need, just that openness. Before I start, please remember that it's really hard to express these concepts in our limited human language, or even to depict the unseen in my artwork or any artwork. It's really difficult to condense such an enormous and very important subject as the unseen into a short video or into a deck. So, what do I even mean by the unseen? Well, to me, it's anything or anybody that can't be readily perceived in our consensus reality, which is the apparent material world that we're experiencing right now in this shared moment. It encompasses all other worlds, dimensions. I'm sorry, the camera's moving. I will try and keep still. It encompasses all other worlds and dimensions and realities, along with the beings and the energies that may exist in them. And I do say may, I'm not saying they do, I'm just saying I'm being open to all possibility, and I say that they may exist in them. These beings obviously can't be readily seen with our physical eyes, although we may encounter them by other means, and many of us may have done so already. Humanity has tried to give them names like aliens, fairies, demons, angels, or discarnate souls, but labelling them really is trying to pin down smoke or capture moonbeams. They defy description because they're beings of frequency, they're energetic beings, they're subtle, they're nebulous, they're nuanced, they're shifting, and they're really beyond our human understanding. Some of them may wish to work with us, and others may want to exploit us or cause mischief. But the vast majority, I would imagine, probably are as unaware of us as we are of them. We are not the centre of everything. All universes and realities are not human-centric. So they may be oblivious to us as we are to them. But it's the ones that are closest, they coexist with us, closest to this reality, that we kind of cross over. They're the levels of existence nearest to ours, and those are the ones I've included in this deck. So why bother including the unseen at all if it's predominantly intangible and unknowable? Because, as quantum physics and mystics of all traditions concur, we do live in an energetic reality, and that's what I believe to be true at this time. Despite the illusion of physicality, everything is actually energy, and it's just vibrating at different rates. We may appear separate, but at the most profound level, we're all energetic kin under the skin. Everything is energy, and our energies are everything. So we're all one, born of and animated by the same life force. We're each, camera moving a lot, so I would like to say that we're each a unique spark from the eternal flame, appearing individual and yet indivisible from the original source. Oh God, I've moved again. Keep still, woman. Right, there you go. I chose to depict this essential energetic force that connects us all at the deepest level as a blue glow, and we'll come to that when we look at the cards in a minute. And that blue glow expresses our interconnectedness at the most profound level, beyond any illusion of self that we have. We are all one. And again, you may or may not believe that, but that's the ethos behind this deck, and you don't need to go along with it, but I'm just expressing it to you in case you choose to explore that for yourself. Because this is an inclusive deck, it was only right that I depicted all our relations, be they human or non-human, seen or unseen. And I'd like to think that by expanding our awareness to include unseen beings, we may become more open and empathetic, and that is a good thing, surely. We might also be more inspired and creative by connecting and being open to them. At the very least, we're drawn deeper into the mystery of existence and start questioning our own place in it. And we can hopefully perceive the magic inherent in our daily experience in this shared now more intensely. We can be more perceptive, more aware of ourselves and perhaps all our relations, whether they are seen or not. Anyway, let's move on to looking at how they are depicted, the unseen beings within this deck. And despite my initial wobbling about there, I do apologise. I've chosen the first two because they're the largest ones I can find, because obviously within the framework of the cards, the beings are not, dominant. They are part of the scene, and they're usually quite small. So on the card back, where's my thing? If you look at the card back, you'll see the unseen being here, and the movement is expressive of their energy. Their fingers, their ears, their hair, everything is sort of flying out, and that is just to denote that they are pure energy and constantly shifting. And that is basically a snapshot of how we may perceive them at that moment, but it doesn't mean to say that's actually who they are or what they look like. They may look like nothing we can possibly imagine at all, but that's just how they appear to us, because we need to see something, and they needed to be shown somehow, so that's why they're like that. And that, again, if I move up here, the one in the corner here, you can see the way that their hands, their feet, their hair, their ears, their wings, everything is just streaming out in pure energy. And also you can see, if you look closely, maybe if you've got these yourself, you can look closely and see that blue line that links them into the background, which is in this case the houses and the sky and the person and everything. They're connected to everything. They're a less dense level than we are, and it's so difficult to put into words. I hope you can grasp what I'm trying to convey here. I really do. I've struggled for a week to try and adequately put this together, and it is so difficult because you really are trying to nail down something that is so mysterious. But that's the best I could do to show these unseen beings, is that they are both connected to their surroundings, to everything and everybody, and that they are this pure burst of energy, this shifting. I'll move on before I struggle to find more words. Let's just have a look at them, shall we? Okay, right, wait for camera to focus on close-up of this one here. Right, now I have to move back again. I'm not quite sure whether I chop bits off, because the framing on these is on the videos is actually tighter than it looks through the viewfinder, so I might lose bits unintentionally, and I will get better. I keep saying that, and I don't know whether I am getting better yet, but I will get better. Bear with me, please. I hope you can pick up the fact of my enthusiasm and my dedication to this work, even if I'm not the most professional maker of videos yet. Anyway, so I chose this one because they are an excellent example of how they're... I'll try and get closer, why don't you? You can see literally how they are just almost blending in with his shirt and the background there. Their feet, their fingers, their hair, everything is just... the energy is connecting to everything else, basically. They are at that level. And also, they are everywhere. They're not just confined to being in a beautiful wood or whatever, in nature, as we would say. Everything is nature, everything is connected, we're all one. So they are present in this restaurant as much as they're present in some of the more green environments that we'll come to in a minute. And again, you can see that blue line that connects everything. I think I've already mentioned that I wanted to put the blue line around literally all living things, but it was getting a bit overwhelming with every single leaf and tree and everything being covered in blue lines. So I hope you just remember that we are all connected by that life force energy, even if it isn't that clear in some of the depictions, which I'll come to again in a minute. And if you go really close to these ducks which are flying outside the window, you'll see they even have their little blue lines around them, their glow of energy. So moving on to the Four of Cups, there is a little unseen being down here. And when I say little, of course, they're not little. They're not all cute little. Some of them may be absolutely microscopic. Some of them might be vaster than we can comprehend. But within the framework of this tarot, they have to be a certain size. Otherwise, everything would get very confusing indeed. So I say little, but that isn't being in any way condescending or reducing them to something that they're not. That I'm just saying little because actually they are little in this picture, but they're much bigger than that really, in terms of presence. And if you look at this one, if you have one yourself, you can see the feet are just blending into the grass, the energy there, the fingers are streaming out, the hair is actually, or the head itself is just pulsing backwards, everything is moving, and this particular being is interacting with this scenario, trying to bring some life and light and renewing the energy of this chap that is suffering from overwhelming ennui by the tree. So they're fully engaged, and they would be one of the beings that would probably be classed perhaps as a familiar or a guide, or maybe just a being that was there in that particular park and decided to get involved and offer their energy into the situation and is interacting. And moving on to the Three of Coins. Now, initially, you may look at this and just, if you can see it at all, because it's not focusing probably, and it's very difficult to see from a distance, but if I get closer and closer, it's all going to go out of focus, but we'll try. You can see, obviously, we've got lots of our creature kin, but where is the unseen being? Here, oh, let's try it. Let's just try it. Okay. Here, there is an unseen green being that is leaping in the space and is absolutely blended with the trees. So they're obviously a spirit connected with the trees. Perhaps they're a guardian, perhaps they are connected with that particular area, or perhaps they're connected with the water. But they seem to be, to me, because again, these beings tended to just turn up in the cards as I was drawing them, much like the other beings did, the more physical, apparently physical beings did, the humans and the creatures. These beings just tended to appear where they wanted to, so I'm not entirely sure what their connection is. I would guess that they are connected to this particular green place because they blend so beautifully into the trees and bushes in the background. So the unseen beings can be guardian spirits of place, guardian spirits of the creatures, or they may just be there at that particular point, or they may be, as I think is connected with this one here in the Four of Coins. I believe that this being, who is very blended in with the sand, but I think that they are something to do with this little boy, or perhaps even the crab. I think they're more connected to the beings in this picture because of that energy they're expressing. It's just it's stubborn, it's dominant, it's confrontational, it's expressing something that, I'm saying it, not in a way that is taking away from its, what's the word? I can't say personhood because it's not a person. I'm not taking away from their essential presence by using the word it, which can be used to just almost devalue them, but I don't know. Sorry, camera. They're genderless and they're non-human. So I'm saying it because I can't say he or she or call them anything else. I don't know what their nature is. They are I think a being that is connected probably with this young lad. I think he is a familiar spirit of some kind because he is so linked in with this boy's energy of defiance and protectiveness. So, but the thing that is important about him, if we can get any closer, is this one. They're literally, the energy is streaming out so much. It's connecting with the boy. He's blending in. It is blending in with the sand. Just a being of pure energy that is, for a time, connected in with the other beings here. I really am not expressing this very well. This is the most important subject that there is, almost, the nature of reality, but it is so difficult to put into words. I hope you will appreciate that. Maybe one day I'll do a better video than this, but it's just for now as an introduction. And again, this being here that is involved in this scenario shows that you don't have to be out in nature, out on the land, in a wild place to have an unseen being present. This being is present within a flat or an apartment and is very much engaged with what's going on. Again, I would imagine that they are either connected with the young boy here, or with the woman, or with the dog, or they have just been drawn to that particular energy that they are emitting, which is obviously one of distress and frustration and general upset, and they appear to be expressing that emotion themselves. They're quite jagged, their energy is flying out, their fingers are flying out. Or they could again be trying to bring some sort of calm to the situation by reaching out to this lady, reaching down to the child. I don't know. It's for you, really, to decide what it means to you. I'm not being prescriptive here. I brought these beings into the card, but again, they decided they were going to be there. I didn't force them to be there. It wasn't contrived or in any way calculated. That's how they appeared. So really, I don't want to say why they're there. They are there, and it's for the person working with the card to decide what it means to them at that particular time. So moving on again to the 9 of Coins, which is a domestic setting, and I'm going to have to try and get closer. The being here, you wouldn't think necessarily that there are these beings within our human dwellings, but again, here is another being. It is a very, it sounds so demeaning, doesn't it? But they are genderless, so let's just say it and hope that you understand that I'm not being dismissive or derogatory. It is just, again, has picked up on this woman's elegant, graceful, calm energy. It's a very subtle being, very pastel colours, light, and I think is adding to the general air. Maybe has been drawn there by that calming environment, or perhaps is this woman's guiding spirit of some kind. Again, it's for you to decide, but I'm just pointing out their presence and how they blend so beautifully as pure energy into the surroundings. But they're not all like that, and as I said in my little introduction, some beings are not out for our best interests. In fact, they will drain us, they will disrupt us, they will encourage us to do things that are not in our or anybody else's best interests, and this is one of them. This little red imp type creature is obviously been drawn in by the hostility, the jeering, the general destructive nature of these people here. I wouldn't say that this being was necessarily connected with this boy, who actually expresses something completely different. I think that his allies here are the swallow and the poppy, rather than this impish creature. I think this impish creature is there egging on these young men, and he's just, or it rather, has just been included there, or has chosen to be included there because of that particular energy, which is is a negative energy. And because this is an inclusive tarot, and because of the nature of the tarot, it's not all sweetness and light and positivity. There are these beings, there are these energies, and so they have to be shown, because there are no exceptions. I can't say, oh no, you can't come in, because all life is here. We're all one, whether we like that or not, we are. And so consequently we have little imps too. But again, in the Ace of Blades, we do have these beings who have chosen to work with us, and this is a healing sprite being, essence, who is sitting with the dog, with her hand, its hand on the dog. Wish human language wasn't so limited in what we can say. Their hand is resting on the dog, giving healing, bringing calm and comfort. And I would say very much that this being is a being that is connected to the dog. Because this is not a human-centric deck, and all creatures have their attendant and companion spirits is what I would name them, for want of a better term. And I believe that this one is either with this dog permanently or has chosen to be with them for the time of their illness and recuperation. And finally, this is the only instance in this deck where there is actually a human spirit energy depicted, and this is the Five of Cups, which is the one set in the cemetery or graveyard, and he had to be there because she's mourning him. This is his grave. He wants to show that actually he still exists. He is a being of energy, he is an eternal essence, and he goes on, even though she is not aware of it, even though she's blocked that possibility out, she's not open to it, she thinks he's gone, and yet here he is. See if I can get closer to him. He is smiling. He's wanting so much to remind her of the eternal nature of being and give her some comfort, but she's not aware. And that really, besides the Death card, where there is a sort of a representation of the young woman, which could be a spirit or could actually just be her, there isn't any other card, I don't think, in this deck set that has a human spirit depicted, but this one does. I am really sorry that I am running over time and that I have waved the camera about a little bit and that I can't find the most profound words to express this most important topic, but I do hope that just for an introduction I have communicated something worthwhile to you. And before I finish, whee, look at the zooming across there, I just wanted to say, without trying to sell it to you, but if you were at all interested in this subject of the oneness of all beings and the eternal energetic nature of the oneness of existence, then this is a book that I wrote most recently to this deck. It was the one that I created before this deck, and it's called Wild Spirituality, and it's basically an inspirational guide to a spirituality without any path necessarily. You don't have to believe in any particular discipline or follow any, what's the word? It's not bound to any belief system. It's wild spirituality, and I do cover the aspect of oneness quite a bit in there. And it's published by Green Magic, who I'd like to give a mention to because they're a wonderful independent publisher, should you be interested in either the book or them. And also I would recommend again the work of Tim Freak, who I'll mention in the description. He expresses this far more eloquently than I could. He is the most inspirational teacher with his books and his videos and his talks, so please do check him out. And the only thing I